Well, good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Fellowship of Spirit in Farmington, New Mexico's Zoom meeting. My name is Ron Holloway, and I'll be your moderator for today. So looks like people are still coming in, so that's good. And I welcome each and every one of you to our meeting. We will be having a board meeting after this meeting to talk about the business of the fellowship. And I don't know at this point when we will be able to meet back in our face-to-face church, whether it be next week or whether it be a month from now. I just don't know. I do have faith, though, that we will be getting back into our meeting and having those meetings. We will also continue on with our Zoom meetings so that we can have the participation of those who are not here in this locality. So thank you very much for being here with us today. We're going to have a great time. We have a great speaker in Margaret Cheasebro. Steve, did you get back with me about, do you have a spiritual reading ready? Is Steve there, Jenny? You're muted. Can't hear you. You're muted.
I know. Something popped up and I couldn't control anything. He's getting one.
Oh, he is getting one. Okay. All right.
Okay. Yeah, I will do that.
Okay, great. Fred is not going to be here, and I've not prepared any music. Does anyone have music? You didn't have any music, did you, Margaret? Can't hear you. You're muted.
My piano is at the other end of the house. So
The other end of the house. So and
Yeah.
your fingers are not that long, right?
Uh-huh. I'll
Okay.
put in a pitch. Caliente is having their absolutely gorgeous concert on Tuesday night at 7 in the Henderson.
Oh, that's great. Okay,
That'll be gorgeous.
remind us when we do announcements at the end, will you please? Okay. All right. Does someone have an opening prayer that they would like to share with us this morning?
I will.
Okay, thank you, George.
So let's close our eyes and center ourselves. Center in the moment. Center in the connection with Source. And state that I know deep within my being, there is a higher energy of love and well-being. In this moment, I feel it deep inside, and I know that it comes from a creator that is unconditional love. Whatever I call this being, Source, Spirit, God, I am, higher presence, does not matter. It's all the same. I know that I am one with all that is, and I claim it as Father, Mother, God. And so we acknowledge that all of us are here today as an extension of the love and loveliness of God. We're here to join with one another, to listen to a talk, to listen to other sharings. And we know that it is God speaking through and existing and living through each and every one of us, as us, in us, and is us. So I desire to co-create, and that's what we're doing today as the group that we are, known as Fellowship, so that I can express God in all facets of our meeting and our life, and therefore receive all that God has to give to me. I accept this love and healing that we all are, that God is within us, and I say thank you so much. And so it is.
Thank you, George. Thank you very much. Okay. I don't have any other announcements. Do you have anything else, Jerry, other than we're going to have a board meeting? Yeah.
Nope.
Okay. All right. So since we have no music and I cannot sing, let's go right into our spiritual reading. You ready, Steve?
Can I ask a question real quick?
Sure.
Are we not reading the statement of faith anymore?
I don't have it here with me.
Oh, okay. I wonder if we could scan it in and then you could pop it up as a share in the future.
Well, if everyone wants to, sure, that's fine.
Okay.
We'll talk about it at our group, at our board meeting, okay? Okay. Is Steve still looking or?
Hello, Steve.
Yeah, he's muted, but he's still looking.
All right.
How about if I read the statement of faith while he's looking?
Yeah,
That
you can
would be
do that.
wonderful.
Go ahead if you have it there handy.
Sure. Yeah. Well, one of the reasons that I love it is because my mom wrote it. So, love produces a flow of energy that I now feel. I love others more than ever, and I feel privileged to be here. Love flows from one person to another as we create an atmosphere of holiness. And so it is.
All right.
So it is.
Thank you.
Steve, you're still muted. He says he's almost there. He's having difficulties.
Well, until he probably doesn't need to unmute until he's ready. We don't want to hear all of his, musings about while he's getting ready.
Nope, there's no musings. There's not even paper shuffling that I
Not
can
even
see.
paper shuffling. Oh, no. Does anyone have any news that they'd like to share with us? Mark, Jerry shared earlier that they are on baby watch, that our granddaughter is about ready to domino, and we'll have a new person on the planet here fairly soon. Is that right, Jerry?
That's right. It's going to be a
All
baby
right.
girl. Her name is Iluna.
Oh,
And I also have the tree ready for the Festival of Trees.
oh, wow.
So we have an entry. So if you can get down there between the 2nd and the 12th of December, there'll be businesses downtown that will be displaying the Festival of Trees. And so hopefully all of you will be able to get down there and see what's being offered by people.
You know where our tree will be displayed?
I don't at this time. They will assign us when I turn in the paperwork on Monday.
Okay.
But all of the businesses in town are doing display.
If memory serves me right, organizations put these trees together and then they're voted on and also they're purchased by people, and those monies are used for charitable purposes. Is that correct?
You can buy tickets for 50 cents a piece, and you go around and you put the tickets in the buckets in each one of the trees that you like, and then they will draw a ticket and that person will get the trees, but that's how the money is generated.
Okay.
Sometimes they used to, and I don't know if they're still doing it or not, but they have a pre-sale thing where people go in and offer like $500 for a tree or something like that. Large businesses that will go in and buy one in advance.
Well, okay, I'm ready, y'all.
Okay, Steve.
Finally, yes, all the cussing and everything is done.
All your-
Thanks for
Cussing
not
and
sharing that
discussing.
part with us.
Yeah.
I tried hard, yeah.
Yeah. Do you have
So-
video? Steve, do you have video?
Not knowing how to do that, no.
Yeah. Okay, so we will just listen to Steve as he reads to us.
Okay, yeah, this is a simple, it's my go-to method when I haven't been prepared. And I've had various difficulties through the last couple of weeks, physically, mentally, etc. And I'm glad to be saying that I think I'm on the rebound. I think I'm getting energy back, and this is feels really good. So today's reading is going to be from today's Science of Mind Daily Guide. And the title is Know Who You Are. The first quote is, self-love has very little to do with how you feel about your outer self. It's about accepting all of yourself. And that's from Tyra Banks, which I had to look up. I thought that Tyra Banks was the gal that was involved in the big skating thing. But no, this is a lady who has been a model and overcome a lot of odds and turned her modeling career and various other businesses into a $50 million empire. The next one is, Every living soul is a point of personified God consciousness, immutable power now. You are not approaching the point, but you are that now. And that's from Ernest Holmes. Do you truly embrace and embody the idea that you are an individualized expression of the one infinite life, or is it just something you like to believe? How can you tell? If you are still speaking poorly to yourself, making excuses, claiming childhood trauma, or downplaying responsibility, it's still just a nice idea. This really hit home to me one day when I realized that every time I did one of these things, I was actually and actively dissing God. As I snidely asked myself, who do you think I am to really believe that I am an aspect of the divine? I remembered Marianne Williamson's famous statement that includes, who are you not to be fabulous, gorgeous, and beautiful? Who are we to cling to our littleness, our wounds, and our fears, when all along there is this joyous, powerful being that is the essential truth of who we are? Of course, it's deep and humbling spiritual work to make sure this isn't simply the ego's hubris masquerading as enlightenment. One way to recognize when that is exactly what's happening is to notice every time comparison and judgment, criticism, or aggrandizement show up in our minds, reactions or words. A simple way to move through this ego charade is to remember that everyone else is a divine being as well. And then today's affirmation is, I embrace my spiritual nature as the truth of me. I release comparison, excuse, and criticism. I recognize and celebrate this divine nature in everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Okay, that sounds like it's going to be a great segue into Margaret's talk today, and just maybe going to be right along those, because I have prior knowledge to her, the title of her talk, and it sounds like it will go right along with it. Okay, I am now going to mute everyone, and then Margaret, you will need to unmute to talk. Okay, go ahead and unmute. There we go. Thank you very much. Let me introduce to you Margaret Cheasebro. She's an author and a Reiki master. Before she retired, she was a counselor in the Farmington School District. She also worked as a reporter, correspondent, bureau chief, and managing editor for several New Mexico newspapers. As a freelance writer, she wrote articles for regional and national magazines and won many and state national awards for her work. She has written several books. She has a bachelor's degree in humanities with an English emphasis, a master's in psychology, counseling, and guidance, and a PhD in metaphysics. At the church she used to attend, she was the volunteer pastor for 10 years. She enjoys and is very good at ping pong, photography, and playing the piano. And let us put our hands together and welcome Margaret.
Well, Steve, I want to thank you for that information that you gave us just now, because it just goes right in with what I'm trying to say. You couldn't have planned it better. So a few weeks ago, a lady asked me to come to her house and meet the trees on the property that she and her husband love and where they live. So I accepted the invitation, not knowing any more than that. When I got to her house and talked with her more, I discovered that she and her husband have two different attitudes about trees. She does not want to cut any of them down, And he wants to cut down the ones that are getting old and in danger of falling or are in locations that could create a problem. So the lady showed me several of her trees. One of them was an elm on the property fence line. She wants to keep the tree. Her husband would like to cut at least part of it down. As I focused on the tree, I heard a message in my mind. It came from the elm. I have a purpose, the elm said. I am a healer. Then to demonstrate how it heals, it sent me so much love that I felt overwhelmed. Some people consider elms a nuisance. They're just nuisance trees because they spread so fast. They have a purpose, and they want as many elms as possible around to help them fulfill their task of being healers by sending love. That doesn't mean the baby elm sprouts shouldn't be pulled up or larger elms cut down as needed. It simply means that they sense their purpose and carry it out relentlessly. Often that puts them at odds with people who constantly have to pull up baby elm sprouts from their yards or gardens, which I have to do every single summer. It's necessary to do that, or elms would endlessly overpopulate. In spite of that, it's nice to know that elms do have some benefits. In their own way, they are perfectly carrying out their purpose. How many times do we pass an elm tree and not notice anything? If we noticed, we might feel a sense of well-being, of love that we can't explain. It lifts our mood. When that happens, the elm is carrying out its purpose of being a healer. Elms and all parts of nature were all created by God, as are we. A Course in Miracles tells us that the fundamental aspect of God is to extend. In the creation, it says, God extended himself to his creations and imbued them with the same living will to create. So everything that God has created, including elms and us, has the same will to create, to expand, that God has. He created us, so we are like him in that way. This is a wonderful gift we have, and the ability to create can give us great joy and a sense of purpose, accomplishment, and satisfaction. But a problem often shows up. That problem occurs when we start using this ability to extend inappropriately. It happens when we get the idea that there's some emptiness or lack within us. We believe we can fill it with our own ideas instead of the truth about who we really are. God has given us this wonderful gift of extending, but we project a false belief that our minds can change that creation, that God's gift can be made imperfect, that we can distort God's creation, and that it's up to us to create ourselves. Someone recently told me that in fits of anger, he has said very mean things to God. He comes from a conservative Christian background in which he was taught that he is unworthy and that he could go to hell for saying such mean things to God. Am I still going to heaven? He asked me uncertainly. I tried to help him see a different perspective in which we are perfect in God's sight. We are part of his creation, and we are holy in his eyes. We are a part of God. It was not an easy concept for him to grasp, but he tried very hard to understand it. The beliefs we're taught when we're young are often so hard to shed, even when we know they are misguided. That elm tree had no trouble remembering its purpose. It knows it is here to be a healer by sending love to others. It doesn't start to think it's unworthy because it sends out thousands of baby elm sprouts that people think are a big nuisance. It doesn't start to think it can change its purpose. It doesn't think that its purpose is imperfect or lacking. It doesn't believe it can distort the wonderful aspects of itself that God created. It doesn't believe it can create a different purpose for itself. It simply continues to be a healer, just as God created it to be. In autumn, lots of leaves fall. Sometimes they get raked and bagged up and taken to the dump. These fallen leaves are a nuisance to some people, but leaves don't see it that way. They recognize that even though they have fallen, they are still a part of the tree. In fact, they see themselves as the tree. When they fall, the leaves that haven't been bagged up go back into the soil and help to nurture the trees. In the spring, they will leaf out on the branches to help the tree get the nourishment that it needs. They know that in some way they are actually already inside the tree. They are one with the tree. And when spring comes, they will make an appearance again. They see themselves as perfect, just as God created them. When God extended himself to create leaves and trees, he created them perfect, just as he is. That's one way that trees show us we too are perfect. It's just that along the way, we've learned to believe things that aren't true about ourselves. That makes us feel mixed up about who we really are. A Course in Miracles says it well in the workbook for students, lesson 67. It reminds us that we are God's creation. The title of the lesson is Love Created Me Like Itself. In that lesson, it says that holiness created me holy. Kindness created me kind. Helpfulness created me helpful. Perfection created me perfect. There are lots of places in A Course in Miracles where we're reminded that we are perfect. It takes a lot of reteaching to help us remember who we really are. We think we understand, then things happen and we forget. We fall right back into the old, distorted ways of thinking. Sometimes we just need a few seconds to rest and to settle our minds so we can remember that we are perfect creations of God. Here is a 3-minute meditation that we can do anytime during the day or night to help us get back on the right track in our thinking. Number 1, begin the meditation by noticing your posture. You may be standing, sitting, or lying down. You may be standing a little crooked. Maybe your body is contorted a bit as you try to do some kind of manual labor. Number 2, notice your body exactly as it is. Don't judge, just notice. See if you can tune in to any sensations that are present in your body at this moment. The sensations can be anywhere in your body. All you have to do is curiously notice them. Take some deep breaths. As you breathe, relax. Be fully present and aware as you breathe. Now breathe naturally as you continue to be aware of your breath. Let go of the awareness of your body's sensations. Instead, turn your attention to the sounds around you. You might be in a room or outdoors. Notice all the sounds, loud ones and quiet ones. Notice the silence between the sounds. The sounds come and go. Notice them coming and going. Number 5, note the sounds instead of telling yourself about them. Our mind has a tendency to want to make up stories about the sounds or to have some reaction to them, such as they're too loud, or they're pretty, or I don't like them. Instead of judging the sounds or making up stories about them, just listen to them. Notice the sounds that come and go with curious interest. Number 6, once again, after you've been listening to the sounds, notice the position of your body, its posture. Notice any body sensations that are obvious to you. Take another deep breath. Then soften your breathing. Feel yourself relaxing. When you are ready, open your eyes. This meditation may help you let go of judgment as you focus on the sensations in your body and the sounds around you. Try it when you need to keep your mind from being so busy or so full of discordant, confusing thoughts. The more you practice it, the better you'll get at it. How can we become more like the elm that knows its purpose and continually fulfills it? This is one way, by letting go of the chatter in our minds, the confusion caused by misguided beliefs. As the chatter and confusion fall away, we begin to remember what we already know about ourselves, that we are perfect creations of God, that we are worthy and deeply loved. This meditation is one way to help us remember who we really are. Life is not a color by numbers picture that takes shape with ease and little thought. We have to work at it. All that effort is worth it when we remember that we really are perfect creations of God. And we have a purpose that He has given us. The next time you pass by an elm tree, stop for a minute and tell the tree how much you appreciate it. Then be quiet and listen. You might feel the tree sending you love, because that's how it fulfills its purpose as a healer. Take that love with you through the rest of your day. It will help you fulfill whatever purpose God has given you.
Are you finished, Margaret? Thank you. Thank you very, very, very much. It was really good and timely, in our busy little lives and all of the drama and the stuff going on in the world. It is very easy to forget that we are as God made us still, and that we are perfect in his sight. So that's very, very good and timely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. If you want to speak to Margaret, just unmute and talk to her.
So Margaret, what did a couple decide?
I really don't know what they decided. They'd have to talk it out later and see. But there was another tree that when I went by it, it asked for prayer, and it was in distress. And the tree, or the husband told me that tree is hollow and it is in danger of falling over. And the wife said, but I love that tree. I love its shade. I don't want to give it up. So they have a real big decision to make. And, if that tree falls over on their house, that's not going to be a good thing. So it's just hard sometimes to say goodbye to friends. And
So is it time to start marketing yourself as the tree expert so you can go around to people's houses and talk to them about their trees?
A tree whisperer.
I don't know that this lady just knew I had done some work with someone else on a different kind of thing. And she called me up and asked me.
Well, it sounds perfect, like there's an opening there for you to jump in on it.
Yeah, maybe.
I know after reading your book on the trees that I have a different respect for the trees. And it's nice to be able to, kind of reach out to them and see if you can feel something from them. I don't for most trees, but every once in a while, one will talk to me.
Yeah.
But I appreciate your knowledge on the elm trees because they are new. I mean, all the little bitty new ones that come up, in your yard and everything, those drive me crazy. But an existing large tree, even though it's the one that puts out those little seeds, it's real hard to acknowledge that maybe it needs to go away. And so, it's kind of like the cottonwood, the cottonwoods that fly and then plant their little seeds all over the place too. So we just happen to live in an area with an excess of both of those.
Yeah.
What a bleak place this would be without our trees. It would be just a wasteland, a desert without our beautiful trees, no matter whether we consider them trash trees or whatever. They are part of God's creation. And our little valley here would be pretty bleak without the trees, wouldn't it?
I would, but thankfully with all the water we have, we're going to have trees.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Anyone else?
Thank you, Margaret. I really enjoy your talk.
Oh,
That's
thanks, Carol.
And listen to you anytime. Okay, thank you.
Yes, it was masterfully done, Margaret. And
Oh, thanks.
I'd like to reiterate that trees are just amazing creatures, not only alluding to your own books, but there's another book out there called The Overstory that also cemented in my mind how, we don't understand what's going on around us with all these trees and how they actually enhance the environment in more ways than just their beauty or their shade, or they're like webs of communication for Mother Earth. So I appreciate anything you bring to that. Thank you.
Midge told me about that book, and I read it thanks to her, or I would not have known about it.
Mhm. Yes, thank you.
Anyone else? Well, I'm beginning to miss our music, but we will have music again next week. Fred will be back with us. So, who is speaking next week, Jerry?
Mark Oldno,
Okay. All right.
and his title is The Little Prayer of St. Francis.
Right. Yeah, Mark is my friend from Santa Fe, and he's talked to us before, and everyone really has enjoyed it. He'll have a good talk. Yeah. So I'm glad you reminded me. I'll need to probably contact him today and just remind him that he's speaking next week.
Yeah, don't let him forget.
Send him a link so that he's not on our regular mailing list, I don't think. So I'll make sure that he has a link, and he is just bring him back up to date.
Okay, and then Susan, you remember you're on the last Sunday of the month.
Okay.
Yes, I do remember that I am talking on the last Sunday of the month. I'm going to be talking about leftovers.
What a great book.
And I'm the spiritual reader next week.
Okay, thank you, Jenny.
Jenny's spiritual reader next week. And then the fourth Sunday, do we have ones for somebody doing the last Sunday? Do we have a spiritual
Carol?
reader?
No.
Carol says she is.
Carol's is okay. Well, all right.
So we just don't have one for the first Sunday. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, we do not have one. We have an opening. I've been filling in only because there is no one else to take that time. But if anyone would like to be a spiritual reader, it's not a big time commitment. And we only ask that you do it once a month. So think about it as a good way to serve the fellowship and to help us to communicate our purpose, our love, and our way of thinking and being. So think about becoming a reader in our rotation. Okay. Who else? Okay, well, one of the announcements, this really distressed me about Randy. Let's keep Randy in our prayer. We will of course pray for him on our Power of 8 time, but keep Randy in your thoughts and prayers daily, because he and Susan were the initiators of our fellowship, and he is a good man, and it distresses me that he's having a difficult time. So let's keep Randy in our thoughts and
What's
prayers.
going on with him?
Susan didn't go into very much detail, but he's losing energy and strength. He can barely get himself around, and he can't take care of Alora anymore. So Alora's moved in with Susan permanently. Like I said, she didn't go into any great detail, but he's been very, very thin for the last few years, and just hasn't shown any great signs of activity or and so he's fading. He just has no strength or energy, and she didn't, like I said, she didn't say there was anything specific. I don't know that he's been to a doctor. They tend to not go to other doctors. They tend to treat themselves, and so just keep him in your prayers. That's all. They are the doctors in their little village area, both of them.
Okay, we have our our designated gratitude day coming up before we meet again. On next Thursday is Thanksgiving. And
No, it's not.
It's
No.
not.
Nope.
It's not.
Nope.
Well, I'm glad you corrected me on that because I was thinking it was.
No, it usually is the third week of the month, but for some reason this year, it's going to be the fourth Thursday of the month.
Huh.
The last. So yeah, it's not until the 25th. So you still have a week.
Oh, still have another week. Okay. Well,
Week and
but
a half, yeah.
yeah, well, I guess I'll have to think about getting something else to eat next Thursday. So, okay. But anyway, we can be, it's really good. I try to me, it's not all that special of a day because I really try to be grateful every day for everything that I have and everything that all the people I'm connected to, because gratitude is something that contributes to a person's wellness and sense of well-being and being able to recognize their place in the universe and their perfection. Is this not so, Margaret? Gratitude is important, is it not?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll talk about more of that when we get closer to it. I thought we were right on the doorstep, but we're not. So, okay. Anything else? Well, we will have a board meeting directly after this meeting. So if you're a board member and you'd like to come, or if you're not a board member and you'd like to come, you're still welcome.
We would like to discuss the possibility of getting back in the building if you're interested or have an opinion on that,
Yeah.
whether you're a board member or not.
I don't know where Jim is, but anyway, we will talk about that and what our recommendations are. Our board is more of a recommendation. We do take care of the day-to-day business of the fellowship, but we understand that we represent the whole body, not and that we try to not make big decisions without taking it to everyone else. But anyway, we'll talk about that here in a little while. Is there anything else? Boy, people are jumping ship, aren't they? All right. Yeah.
So bless us out of here.
Okay. Father, Mother God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this way for us to be together. It is not perfect. We realize that. We would rather be together in our building where we could see and hug each other and be close to one another. But we thank you for this venue. It is perfect in and of itself for these times in this situation. And we thank you for this. We ask that you would look out after us and keep us safe and far from harm, and that you would just keep us safe until we meet again. Amen.
Amen.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, Margaret. Thank you again. All right. So. Yeah.
Unless we need to go do something, can we go straight into the board meeting?
We could, but there's only a few of us. I'm willing. Everybody else ready to do something? Don, Neva, Steve, you guys need to take a potty break or anything? All right, I'm gonna turn off the recording.
Okay.